I'm Tiffany, and this is from Mamaw's Kitchen. This is where I share old-fashioned recipes and skills, a lot of which I learned from my Mamaw in her kitchen. Today's video is a full one, y'all. We've got a lot to get done, from canning projects to baking, pantry restocking. We've got the list of things to get done, so come spend a couple of days in the kitchen with me. Hey there, y'all. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm Tiffany. Sorry to say we got a busy day planned, but realistically, it's probably a couple of busy days. I think it'll take probably today and tomorrow to get through my list of things that I want to get done. I've got some canning projects, some baking projects, pantry restock things, quite the list that we're going to try to work through. What's on my list? Let's see. We're going to make and can some chicken broth because I'm out in the pantry. I still have some in the freezer, but it's just really convenient to have it in the pantry. I've got some dried kidney beans that I'm going to can. That way they're ready to go to dump in chili and taco soup and those kinds of things. I've got some carrots that I want to can. That's become a very quick homemade convenience item for us, just to be able to open that can of carrots. And we like to do what we call sweet carrots. I put a little honey or maple syrup on them and heat them up. It's the perfect side. So those are the canning projects that I have on my list. And then I need to make some granola bars so the kids have them to snack on. I need to make some more chocolate syrup for chocolate milk. I need to do some bread baking, some sandwich bread, and some bagels. That's on my list. Oh, and the local grocery store had a deal on some ground beef. So I just got a 3-pound pack. I probably should have went ahead and got a couple of them, but I saw it when I was in there. I was like, oh, let me grab one of those, and I'll split it up into 1-pound sections and put it in the freezer just so we have it. So I need to do that, split that up and vacuum seal those individual packs of ground beef. The more I think about it, I probably should have got more. I wonder if I need to check and see when the sale runs through. But anyway, that's on my list to do as well. Go ahead and get started on, let me move you over here. The chicken broth is the first thing that I'm going to get started, just because it needs to go on the stovetop for several hours. So it can be going while I work on some other things. These are frozen, which is absolutely fine, but it might take me just a second to get them out of the packaging. These are some extra roosters that we processed when we did our last round of meat birds. Some that were just in our regular flock. We had a few too many roosters, and so we processed them for the purpose of making chicken stock, chicken broth. I know there's a difference, but sometimes I use it interchangeably. Just habit. You could just cover your chicken with water and let it simmer for a while, but I like to put in some vegetables as well. And what I do is I keep what would normally be considered scraps, the peels off the outside of onions, the peels off of carrots, tops off of celery, and I save them in bags in the freezer and then pull them out to use them for this. You get the nutrients and the flavor from something that would have been considered a scrap. Or you could cut up an onion, cut up a carrot, a couple carrots, and throw them in there. It's the beauty of making it yourself at home. I also like to go ahead and salt mine. And just cover it in water. We'll bring it to a boil and then reduce it to a simmer and let it simmer for several hours. And then once this is gone on the stove for several hours, I'm going to strain and pressure can mine. You could also strain it, let it cool, and put it in the freezer if you didn't want to can it. So there's that. And I don't know if I mentioned, but if you had leftover carcasses, chicken carcasses from when you did roasted chicken or had a rotisserie chicken, save those and use them for something like this as well. Trying to decide what order I want to do things in so I can be most efficient and effective with my time in the kitchen. So I think what I'll do is I will get my beans going, my canned beans going. And then while that's in the canner, I'm going to do the granola bars. Did I mention granola? That's on my list as well, so we can have it to put in yogurt. I'll do those things and the chocolate syrup. Chocolate syrup, I may need to go ahead and do that first so I can do it on the stovetop before I get the canner going. That's what I need to do. I'm just talking and planning out loud with you. We made a trip to the Dutch Oven Bakery this morning because I knew I needed some more cocoa powder and chocolate chips. That video I filmed while we were there, and it'll be up on our other channel, our Small Town Life, our family vlogging channel. And I meant to show this and I didn't, but on the bags and all the packaging, there's scripture, and I love that. This one says, but he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities, Isaiah 53:5. This one says, bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits, Psalm 103:2. So I thought I would show you that. If you want to see what we got at the bakery, that I'll link the other video down in the description box for you. Here's a recipe for chocolate syrup. Super simple, super simple and delicious. We keep this in the refrigerator so we can use it for chocolate milk and put it on ice cream and put it on top of iced coffee, all kinds of things. Isn't that sugar beautiful? The biggest thing with this is don't walk off from it because it will boil over. The sugar will bubble up. So you want to stay with it. And if we're just going to bring it to a boil, I can turn the heat down just a little bit once it starts boiling. And then, where's the spoon I'm looking for? I guess we'll just use this one. Then once it starts boiling, you're going to boil it for about 3 minutes. I'll just put it in a jar and put it in the refrigerator. I about did it. I turned my back for a second and I about let it boil over. Turn it down just a little bit and it will simmer down. It's just right when it first starts to boil. That sugar will bubble up. I let this cool just a little bit and I ran some hot water over my jar to hopefully keep it from shocking the glass. I could have let it cool a little bit more, but I'm going to go ahead and pour it up. Hudson's already came in here and said, it smells so good. It smells like chocolate. I'm going to let this sit here and cool a little bit more before I put it in the refrigerator. Okay. Let's see here. Everything ready. I decided to go ahead and do these in quarts today instead of pints because when I'm using these for something like chili or taco soup, I usually would open 2 small cans. So I might as well go ahead and just do it in quarts. So it's 1 scant cup per quart of dry beans. I'm going to fill these up with water, leaving a 1-inch head space from the top of the jar. This is hot water. I should have got my funnel, but we're going to do the best we can. I've also got my pressure canner over here starting to warm up. The lid's not locked on. It's just sitting on the top and it's warming up. Make sure there's no air bubbles trapped in there. I'm going to go ahead and put a ½ teaspoon of salt in my jars. You don't have to put salt. I just usually always put salt in what I'm canning, just so I know that it's already in there. Just kind of tell myself, oh, it's already got salt in it. I do that with my carrots. You don't have to put the salt, but I do. I need to top some of these off with just a little more water. Wipe around the rim just to make sure there's no salt or a little piece of a bean or something that would prevent a good seal. And then I'm going to put my flats on. I'm using the 4 jars lids. Y'all, these are they're my favorite. I've used several different ones over the years, and these are my favorite. Have a really good seal rate with them. All right, let me get these rings on, and then I'm going to get these in my canner and go through the process of canning these. Again, if you need any extra information about pressure canning, I'll put that video down in the description box. You can do your own research on if you want to can beans from dry or if you want to soak them. I have canned beans from dry with no problem before. Now, I will tell you, and I'll go into a little more detail later, I made a little bit of a mistake here. I only had a 15-pound weight, and you should can these at 10 pounds of pressure, quarts for 90 minutes. Well, I put the 15-pound weight on and canned them at 15 pounds of pressure, and it messed with the texture of them more than I would have liked. So I need to get a 10-pound weight. I knew I could can them at 10 pounds of pressure, but I would have to stand at the stove and watch it and adjust the heat. So I canned them at 15 pounds of pressure, and it messed with the texture more than I would have liked. Okay, had to step away from the kitchen for just a second because I needed to take up Easton's baseball pants. To get them long enough, we have to get them a little bit bigger in the waist. So, get these ready for him. Hey, Easton, come try these on. Up next, granola bars. I'm going to go ahead and spray this. This is what I'm going to put them in. You could line it with some parchment paper. I'm just spraying it with a little avocado oil. Set that to the side. I'm going to mix it in this bowl. It's as easy as 3 cups of dry ingredients, ½ a cup of honey, ½ a cup of peanut butter. I usually do peanut butter chocolate chip granola bars. That's what I'm going to do today. So there's 1, 2, and 3. But I have some stuff coming on an Azure order. Some pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, dried cranberries. And I'm going to try them in granola bars. That's what I'm getting at. Like multitasking here. Now, normally I would melt this peanut butter and honey together in a double boiler on the stovetop, but I don't have any room on the stovetop right now, so I'm just going to spend a little extra time mixing this together. If the peanut butter was melted down, it would fold into the oats a little easier, but I don't have any extra spots on my stovetop right now. I'm going to press it down. Normally I take some parchment paper or wax paper, lay that on the top, and it helps be able to really press it into the pan. I don't have any right now, so I'm going to get a silicone spatula, spray a little avocado oil on it, and see if we can press it down that way. And you could put this in a smaller baking dish if you wanted thicker granola bars. This is how we like ours. Then what I do is I sprinkle the chocolate chips over the top and then press them in so that the chocolate chips look really nice on the top of the granola bars. The tighter you get it packed in here, the better they'll stay together when you cut them. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator for a few hours until it's good and set. And we just store them in the refrigerator. The kids grab one out when they want one. Beautiful. Let me show you. It's also time to put my weight on my canner.
Yeah, we got that. And then we got it. We got
all right, stand this.
Water.
I've got some helpers. And I decided, ready, let's pour that in, and then Fletcher can help. Oh, you got it.
Mama,
I decided that I'm going to make some buns because we're going to do hamburger and beans. Look, put your hands down until it's time for us to do something else. I'm going to make hamburger and beans for supper, and we're going to make homemade buns to go with it. I might make some more bread tomorrow, but this is what we're doing for right now. Opening it. All right, here, help Mama put it in. That's the yeast. We're going to make sure we get it all in the mixer.
Mom, I'm at the phone.
Oh, easy, because we're only putting a little bit. There we go.
Got it, Mom. Mommy.
I have individual dedicated videos for most, if not all, of these things that I'm doing in the video you're watching today. The hamburger buns, canning carrots, the chicken broth, the granola bars. So I will put all of those individual videos down in the description box. That way, if you want more details or want to see more detail on anything specifically, you can find that. It's plenty warm enough over here with everything that's going on the stove. So I'm just going to sit this here. Let it probably take it about an hour and a half or so to double in size. Sometimes it's a little quicker, sometimes it's a little slower. Then I'll shape my buns, cover them, let them rise one more time. Usually only takes about an hour the second time, and then they'll be ready to bake for supper tonight. I bake them on 350 for about 15 to 18 minutes. Try to get them to an internal temperature of about 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's go ahead and get this granola going in the oven. Preheated my oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. This granola is another one of those things that I am pretty excited about trying I'm going to do a cranberry and cinnamon once those dried cranberries get here. I'm pretty excited about that. It's a 1.5 cups of oats. 1 tablespoon of oil. That's avocado oil, but you could use whatever oil you want. And then I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of honey. Put a pinch of salt. Then I'll put this over on my baking sheet and we'll just toast it up in the oven. Do it about 25 minutes, stir it a time or two. And then once it cools off, I add my chocolate chips into it so that way they don't melt. Oh, I gotta put my egg white in here. About forgot.
Is that for them to put like in yogurt?
Yes, it is.
So we got yogurt? How do you?
It's the next morning. Let me catch you up a little bit on what all I got done yesterday. As it got later, I didn't turn the camera on as much. I just got things done, but I did get some clips that I'll insert for you. So we had our hamburger buns with our supper. It was delicious, as always. That's one of my favorite bread recipes. The beans came out of the canner. Y'all, they're just okay. I canned them at 15 pounds of pressure, which is a little too high, but it's the weight that I had for this canner, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to sit there and babysit the heat. So the texture changed a little more than I wanted them to. They softened a little bit. I won't do that again. I won't do them at that high pressure again. Chicken broth. I canned it. I got 6 quarts of chicken broth. And I did go ahead and watch it and can it on 10 pounds of pressure. So it's ready to go in the pantry, which is fantastic. I'm happy to have some chicken broth in the pantry again. Granola is done. Granola bars are done. Chocolate syrup is done. I got more done yesterday than I thought that I would. When you work diligently, you can get a lot done. And I know that, but I still surprised myself because I wasn't just in the kitchen all day yesterday, y'all. I was, we had to go to the store. We were doing school, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, getting babies to nap and changing diapers and taking up ball pants. We had 3 different ball practices. And you get what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't just in the kitchen all day. I still got a lot done. So I'm really happy with that. The only thing on my list still to do today, the meat. I got the meat separated and in the freezer as well. When I made supper last night, that hamburger and beans, I used 1 pound of the ground beef and I put the other in the freezer. So that's done as well. Carrots, canning carrots is on my list for today. It's a little bit later now. And since I had fewer things on my list to get done today, I decided that I would, instead of trying to multitask so much, I would focus on one thing at a time. Well, as much as we can as moms. So I got all the schoolwork stuff done with the kids. We've had lunch. The little ones are over there laying down, resting and watching a show. And now I'm going to just focus on carrots. Oh, I was going to show you too. Yesterday, another thing that Audrey did was she has been asking about sourdough bread again. We've taken a couple of months off from sourdough. I just wanted to give it a break. We've been doing all yeast bread. And she said, can we get some sourdough starter going again? So she took some dehydrated starter and is working on rehydrating it and reactivating it. So we'll be baking sourdough in a few days. All I'm going to do, I rinsed my carrots. I'm going to peel them, rinse them again. And I decided to put these in pints today instead of quarts, so that if I want to, we can still do our sweet carrots with them. But if I want to, I can also have a smaller can to open and put in, mix with some sweet peas or put in vegetable soup. Because I have those things planned coming up. So I'm going to get these peeled, rinse them again, and I'll just cut them up and get them in my jars. You can cut these up in little rings. You can dice them. Whatever way you think you'll use them the most. This is what I typically do with mine right here. Thought about dicing these since I kind of had some other ways that I was planning on using them, but this is simple. Boys, it doesn't sound like you're resting. Lay down and rest, please. Sounds like we're being dinosaurs. Okay, the tedious part is done. The peeling and washing and chopping. I left a few. I think I have plenty for these jars, so I've left a few in here. If I need them, I'll chop them up. No, I'll just use them fresh. But now I'm just going to put these in my jars. And I said it was the most tedious process of like peeling and washing and chopping, and it is, but I enjoy it. It makes me, I don't know, I use it as an opportunity to just think about the times that I had in the kitchen growing up, watching Mamaw and Pawpaw can, and Mamaw and her friends can, Mama Della and Delma. They would come over and spend all day in the kitchen canning. I just think about that. Plus, it's a way for me to serve my family. So, while it is a little tedious, I enjoy it. Yeah, I'm going to have more than enough carrots chopped up. Might even just do a second round in the canner when these get done. It's as simple as putting them in a jar, covering them with some water, and then letting the pressure canner do its thing. I am going to go ahead and put some salt in mine. Just what I always do. I know it's not necessary when you're pressure canning as far as preservation, but I still like to do it, and I just always tell myself, hey, it's already got salt in it, so when I open it up, I don't add any extra salt. I think I'm going to can these 7 jars. I'm just going to save the rest for us to have to snack on. I might cut those up and roast them for supper. That do a half a teaspoon. And then what I was saying is that's room temperature water in that kettle. It's easier to pour out of it. Get some more water, but I'm going to show you then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my butter knife and just make sure there's no air pockets in here. And then I'll add a little extra water because it'll make the water level drop a little bit when the air pockets come out. Or sometimes it does. Like this one right here is still fine, but these I'll have to add a little more.
If I can do it.
I know I've already mentioned it, but I'll say it one more time. If you've seen me doing anything in this video that you would like to see more in detail, check out the description box because there's probably a video that's dedicated to each of these things. This is going to be one of those videos where the description box is packed full of all kinds of extra information. Already double checked everything. I'll check it triple check it one more time. Make sure there's no clogged vents or seals looking good. All that kind of stuff. My mama made us goulash for supper. I've already eaten a bowl. It was delicious. This has been cooling. I let the pressure come all the way down and then still let it cool off a little bit more. And now I can take them out. I heard some of them sealing. Looks like all of them might have sealed already. Just gonna set them over here on my mat. Oh, y'all, isn't that gorgeous? And they'll sit here for about this time tomorrow, and then I can write on them, put them in the pantry, as long as they're all sealed. And I believe they are all already sealed. It'll just be making sure they stay sealed. All right, y'all, I think that's going to be it for this one. It's been a packed full couple of days, and I'm glad you got to spend that with me. Thank you for hanging out with me. If you've made it this far in the video and watched the whole thing, you're the real MVP. Thank you. Thank you for watching our videos and supporting our family. It means a lot to us. Y'all get in the kitchen and make some memories with the people you love. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.